Okay, I'm Kata, this is my colleague Neno. We are coming from Zagreb from Architectural Office NFO. And when thinking about the ways to make the best house, we focused on basic human needs. We can see them here described in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So we can see here at the bottom, basic needs placed at the bottom, survival and safety, following security and social needs and belonging, then esteem and self-actualization on the top. In our opinion, the best way to make a good house is careful leveling of all these needs. So basically, everybody has a need to feel secure and safe in some way, in matters of shadow, sun, food, economical stability. When a person doesn't feel certain in their physical circumstances, they seek certainty in religious faith or positive affirmations. Adults don't often have a strong need of security and safety, but in times of crisis, riots, etc., it becomes active. Unlike them, kids have often different level of security. They have a strong need to be safe, and they often feel insecure.
So when we successfully finish our first and most important need, which is safety, then we can move on to the social connection. Social connection it means that every people has a need to feel loved and to belong in his, I don't know, circle. We love that feeling that much that we are willing to develop all kinds of tools just not to feel alienated and lonely. And that happened through all history, so we could call this folk dance an ancient Facebook, because it served the same purpose. And these social connections sometimes grow so strong that they start to form closed cultural circles, or should I say exclusive cultural circles.
So when first two needs are satisfied, then we move on to ego. Everybody feels a need to feel important in some way. So we seek acknowledgement from each other, from others, and when this need is frustrated, we feel deprived, sad, unsatisfied, and helpless. And these emotions can make us do big moves or no moves at all. Sometimes ego can be viewed as motivation for positive or for negative actions.
So when we have successfully accomplished all these three needs, then it's time to put self-actualization in action. Self-actualization is a need in human to be best that he could be, to do what he was born to do. So here we can see in the former, here we can see Nadia Comaneci scoring perfect 10 for the first time in history, or Gandhi's devotion to truth that he is willing to die for it. Or Bach's notes turned into on paper, translated to paper, and Michelangelo's fury captured in Moses' eyes. But when we are hungry, if we don't have a shelter, we know what we have to do. But with self-actualization, it's harder because often it's not clear what the person wants to do and how should he do it.
So here we have survival, social connection, ego, and self-actualization. Now we're going to see some reflections of those needs on architecture. When we discuss architecture in theoretical terms, considering quality, we don't often discuss safety issues. But when it comes to crisis, safety is one and only things that really matter.
Social connections in architecture have many different levels, starting from, I don't know, family, city, nationality, etc. But density is not that important in this, because even when the density is high, the social connections don't have to be strong. For example, in this building, people often don't know their neighbors, they don't know their names, but they know their toilet flushing sounds. And in other densities, social connections grow so strong that they create create even tribal. They tend to be tribal ones. With smaller communities, not even easier, because with bad planning, you can make that there are no social connections, but with good planning, you can make that architecture by itself give a good potential for love and belonging, which is basic need.
So now we come to the ego again, which is really important for all of us architects. Sometimes in architecture, ego can overtake every other need. And we know that ego and esteem is often basic motivation for an investor to show themselves to the village and the country. But it is a fact also that architects sometimes have a similar problem because we always have a need to do something new, different, no matter what. That is the tricky part because not every location requires new and different. Sometimes the ego has to be restrained just in order to avoid the most obvious.
And self-actualization in architecture is a very important need because it pushes us to break the borders and to go further. And there are many examples in history from which we can learn from, either in a negative or in a positive way. Sometimes it is needed to, I don't know, pass some time, a certain period of time that we can realize that something has a great quality. And some projects can be just a starting point for a new way of thinking. But the most important part for all that is that we have to learn from their qualities and from them for their flaws. But the common thing about all of them is that they try to move beyond the common way of architectural thinking. So in conclusion, we could say that it's totally natural to fulfill our needs, but the problem is that we often misuse them. So with careful leveling and critical observation of these needs should be the best way to make a great house.
Thank you.
Thank you.